was Joe's rival in the 8th grade. Bob would meet Barbara first and walk her home. And Joe would stop into his grandma and grandpa. See, that would be Wilson, wouldn't it?
Uh-huh.
He said, Grandma, just look at that. I don't know what she sees in Bob Heckman.
Just like your parents.
Now this was 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then when time went on and they did start dating, so to speak, well, Wiley was of the feeling, they were too young. It was working into that steady, she's my girl and he's my man, you know. So Wiley broke it up.
Oh, he did. And how old were they at this point?
When did they start going steady?
I don't know.
In high school, freshman?
But you guys were only like 19,
Somewhere along
right?
there.
You were only
Somewhere
19
there.
when you got married.
Huh?
You were only about 19 when you married Wiley, right?
Uh-huh.
But they were too young. Perspective changes, doesn't it, when it's your kids?
Well, this was only about the 8th grade.
Oh, okay. 14 maybe?
But Joe, his grandma used to tell that on him. He said, what did she see in that Bob Heckman? Bob Heckman was good looking. He didn't have the intelligence that Joe had.
Yeah.
Joe has always had a good head on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he loved his grandma and grandpa, though. Remember when you heard about going up to Monon, Joe?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I bet no, you haven't heard this story. Joe would go up and spend summers with his grandma, Grandpa Wilson,
Okay.
in Monon, Indiana. Grandpa Wilson was a railroadman.
Okay. Number 32.
Yeah.
No,
And Joe,
that was his father.
No, that's right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep, Grandpa.
and Joe was up early one morning, and so a little bit he said, you son of a bitch, you'll never make it to Indianapolis if you don't get up some speed. The little fellow. Grandma heard him. So she said, now listen, I'm going to tell you what your grandson said this morning. Now you've got to watch your language around him. Well, Grandpa, that was just Norman language for the railroadmen.
Yeah.
You know, it was just part of their talk, you know, to come out with those words. But then Joe picked it up. Just
Gotta be careful.
he loved those summers with his grandma,
Yeah.
grandpa, and that's where he met. I think they ended up to be lifelong friends.
Yeah.
They kept in touch. Who were they? I know you've heard Joe and Barb mention them. They kept in touch with him and maybe still do.
I don't know.
But I always remember that story about Joe. But he and Bob Heckman were devils. They were mischievous.
And after your daughter.
Huh?
And after your daughter.
He would never, we would never talk money or finances or anything like that in front of the children. And while he was working strictly, when he did go on his on commission basis. And so we'd go out to eat. And this was there on Norwalder. Well, then Bob Heckman and Joe, one night they climbed a tree and on the roof of the house and scraped it, you know, on the roof. Scared those girls to death. So, And a few other things that they did. So Wiley thought, well, it's about time I talked to the parents. So he picked up the phone and called and talked to Helen. He said, I want you to keep your son away from this house.
Yeah.
Helen says, well, after all, they aren't going to run away and get married. Wiley says, I know damn good well they aren't. You keep them at home. So they've been in love. I've known each other since the first grade. And I think they've had a good life. Don't you?
Yep.
Of course, we don't know, but I think they love each other very, very, and that not only that, they respect each other. You know, that means a lot in a marriage. Respect each other's feelings and their weaknesses, because we all have them. Everybody but you, Dee, and me. It's a wonderful life. What do you kids know? You see any books there you want to read?
Oh my, we have a ton of books at home. I just started a book yesterday. Now, is that one of our books? But you know, one of the funny things is when Matt and I were going through all of our books and putting them out, we found that we have a lot of books the same.
I can't get it. I'm not a poem person. This Mrs. Paley loaned me this.
Oh, those are so funny. These are funny.